Hello, everybody. Welcome to another day with Pastor Sunday and my guest today, Pastor John from Lagos, Nigeria. And Pastor John has, been in Ukraine several times, and he's not just visiting and going back. He's actually documenting everything he has seen so far. So, what are the things that you say made Ukraine an attractive place to you that makes you to keep on coming back?
One of the other things I observed is a strong message that everybody has a purpose and a calling. It was so strong, very strong. And when we talk about people discovering their promised land, understanding what God was calling them to do, I found that, one of the observations I made on that first trip is that here was a church where each person you met actually was either in the process of discovering or in the process of training to take over their promised land.
Or already doing it.
Or they were already doing it, and this basically covered every area and every aspect of society. No part was left untouched. Some people had been successful locally and had gone on missions abroad, had been sent out as apostles to different nations. And I think for me, it had a huge impact on me in the sense that when you think about it, when you think about the church, what Embassy of God was teaching is that each person has a role to play on behalf of heaven on earth. That life on earth is with a purpose. That you can't live for nothing. You have to live for something. And the church was almost like a platform, a center that was inspiring people, forcing people, compelling people to discover this purpose and go for it. That's one of the things I observed that had a huge impact on me. So that the church itself, then I understood the calling of the church, which we'll talk about again. But basically, one of the primary purposes of the church, the primary purpose, in fact, is to help the members to discover their own individual purpose.
Interesting.
And to
tell us about that.
When you look at the Bible and look at the experience of Jeremiah, when God spoke to him and said, "Before you were in mother's womb, I knew you. Before you came forth, I separated your danger as a prophet." It sounds a bit elitist, as if Jeremiah is in a class by himself.
I see.
So it's good to say, well, he's a prophet to the nations. Maybe that's why. And then, but when you look at Paul's experience, when he said, when he pleased God, who separated me from my mother's womb, then he now said, but that's an ex-criminal. But I saw it demonstrated in Ukraine. I saw that I didn't find believers who were just floating around. In fact, listening to Pastor Sunday on tape, listen to him, because I wrote a lot of questions then, and I still have my list, interestingly enough. I found out that there was a time that people were coming to such church so much that they had to stop all the things that were, all the adverts and TV program, for publicity and so on and so forth. And the thing is that he said that his goal in life is to kick out his members to society. The goal of the average pastor is to grow his church. But then here was a pastor who was saying that his goal was to kick his people out of the church to go there and do the kingdom. And for them to do that, they had to discover their own individual purpose. So that's what I observed, and I thought that was...
And that purpose doesn't mean to be a pastor in the church or an evangelist or a teacher or something.
The purpose here covers all these important or 7 spheres of society. No, basically, it didn't... In fact, they had what you might call more of social pastors.
Yeah.
The truth is that the calling here was, if you were a doctor and you said God was calling you to the world of medicine, go and possess it for God.
Yes.
And something else I observed was that there were things people did to make money to fund these callings. There were things they did to just raise enough money to fund their passions and their callings.
That's right.
So that people, I didn't find people who were making money just for the sake of money.
Yes.
It's either they were busy doing this thing or they were doing other things. And the callings covered every aspect of society. Those who were working with young people, they saw it as a calling, and they saw that as their platform. Those who were working with adults, those who were dealing with drug addicts, who were ex-drug addicts, that's a different subject altogether. But those who were ex-drug addicts, who were working with the drug addicts themselves, saw it as a calling. So that I could then understand why they were able to invade society, because there were no aspects of society that were being left untouched. And interestingly enough, Pastor Sunday said that most things that the people were doing, he wasn't even aware of them. He was basically inspiring them. He said it took a long time to teach on purpose. He thought perhaps at some point over a year, just teaching on purpose, so that people were coming up with different things. There were even issues in society people discovered. He said he didn't even know those things existed, and they built ministries around them and built podiums or pulpits or platforms around them, and they were working with society. Some people were dealing with anti-corruption. I remember one of the sisters who didn't finish high school, who went back to college, wrote a curriculum, and what's interesting about this is that these purposes, once discovered, were presented in a way that it was even difficult for society to reject it. They were I think the phrase that came to me then was that they were resolving societal problems.
That's right.
They were resolving issues in society. They were resolving them, and they weren't using language that society hated. Mm-hmm. They were using the language of society, so that society accepted them, even though they were driven by the values of the kingdom, and the impact was very visible.
Amazing. You say, that's why I say about Pastor John. He has studied what's going on here, and he can make a beautiful presentation to anybody. So I'm so happy he's with us this week, and we will have him tomorrow again. God bless you.